Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and after the entire Call of Duty community has taken their anger out on Activision and the CDL over these last couple of weeks, it seems about time that the focus falls on the pro players themselves. One of the very few optimistic things we had going into the Vanguard was the possibility that snipers may be returning in Search and Destroy. The pros seem to have decided that's not going to be the case either. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting a like button is the best thing you can do. Top this channel reach new people, please do subscribe as well if you have not yet already. Loads of updates, I'm sure, potentially to come on this in the coming days, because some drama, some spice was certainly hitting the timeline as a result. The pros do not agree on this one by any means. Definitely want to hit 74k as well before the Kickoff Classic in a week or so time. I'm holding you guys to that one. Let's dive in. Firstly, the Boston breach, because I honestly thought they were going to announce the day before that I thought they were going to announce yesterday. Didn't happen at all, and even though Method was kind of hinting it will happen, this is what he finally says. So today, 4 p.m. Eastern, that I believe is when the announcement is, of the branding and all that type of stuff. So I guess we shall talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, many other things to dive into today, mainly of course surrounding the Sniper Gentleman's Agreement. So of course this is going on right now. The kickoff is next weekend, and it's still somewhat unclear how well Control is going to play. We're going to talk about that later today, because certainly a lot of questions on that one. But you know, some people are saying, look, Search and Destroy Minnesota are like, okay, do we just want to play 3 Search and Destroys? I'm sure they'd be down for it. They're obviously phenomenal Search and Destroy team, great Search and Destroy players. But in general, Search and Destroy has finally been actually being practiced by the pro teams. They pretty much just played Hardpoint for well, a few months at this point. They're finally getting around to actually playing Search and finding out what maps work and what maps don't, and well, actually deciding what they want to use in Search and Destroy this year. In Modern Warfare and every year prior, sniper rifles of course were used, and you can think back to so many fantastic highlight moments, especially Black Ops 4, even like Black Ops 3, right to Modern Warfare. There were several with Wusky and Illy with the sniper rifle in hand. Definitely some of the greatest highlight moments ever in COD history are with the sniper in hand. Now it wasn't the case in Cold War. They banned the snipers in Cold War, and to be fair, in Cold War the snipers were just so easy to use, it was ridiculous. And what they gave as an excuse was that smokes were kind of broken in that game, where sometimes you could see the other guy through the smoke, he couldn't see you. They're pretty broken, and therefore that the argument was that okay, smokes, if they're not in the game, then you can't really use them to counter snipers. Therefore, we're going to get rid of snipers, right? So it was very frustrating last year that snipers weren't in the game. But I thought going into the Vanguard, especially because snipers in this game are probably the weakest they've ever been. I haven't played much of this game, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it seems like snipers are not particularly strong. They don't have a crazy one-shot kill area. They don't aim down sights particularly quickly. But I did kind of wonder whether the pros would kind of get on this train that because snipers weren't there last year, some of them would want to continue that trend going into this season, especially if some of the teams don't have a good sniper on their squad. Now, some of the drama about this, frankly, is absurd, because I mean, there's people talking about that every single team has voted for it. The way they do these votings just seems completely awful. Like, there's no wonder these guys can't put together a players' union with the way they're trying to do the voting system for this, and the fact that some teams, for example OpTic, they want snipers in, but they voted for snipers to be gone so that they can like gain some rapport to get the other thing that they want to stay in the game to stay in the game. It's just crazy how this happens. We'll dive into it here. GodDirect is the first person to really talk about it last night. So snipers got GA'd. They aren't even busted in this game. You're just making S&D not fun for no reason at all. That's the thing, right? It's like we've been talking about the fact that this game is terrible for competitive. We're really clutching at straws to make this year as good as it can be, and then the pros come through who, well, share these opinions you would think of what's being said the last couple of weeks and say, you know what, actually the one thing that might be enjoyable to watch in this game, we're going to get rid of that as well. It's like when the viewership tanks, right, who's going to be to blame, right? Usually I don't go in on GAs too much because I understand the necessity of it, and some things, maybe we do need to be GA'd. Snipers, I can't really see any good reason why this should be the case. If you guys can find one in the comments, feel free to do so. So anyway, Crone kind of comes out and confirms it. Vanguard GAs V1.2, there's not really too much on this list, to be honest. This time last year, we're talking about the AK-47, the XM4 was already being discussed as being GA'd at the time. Now snipers have gone. This is currently for NA only, but other regions may well follow suit. So anyway, the drama as a result of this kind of kicks off. So as Hitch says, like, there's no reason to do this at all. This isn't for competitive integrity. These got to be the worst snipers I've ever seen. The MP40 kills faster. I just don't understand why the pros are so intent on just having like a 2-weapon meta every single year. Even snipers have to go now. I just simply don't understand it. But all the pros don't agree on this, even though apparently all the teams voted for it. Just crazy stuff. We'll have a look at how this transpired in a second. So as Octane says, can't use snipers if we are GAing smokes. They won way just as bad as last year, so snipers are gone as a byproduct. So this kind of the idea. Smokes are busted, they don't work properly, therefore we can't use smokes to counter the snipers, therefore snipers have to go. However, that's not the case. Smokes apparently are being used, therefore what's the reasoning to GA the snipers? Doesn't really seem like there's much of a reason, frankly, apart from the snipers are just too good, but I can't see how the snipers are possibly too good in this game. Like, I can't see a world in which there's 2 players on a team of 4 using snipers. Back in World War II and USS Texas, there were 4 snipers on the map sometimes. So, you know, retrospectively, if the pros take this logic into previous games, every single game, going back probably all the way to Black Ops 1, when snipers are really difficult, probably that the snipers would never have been used at all if this logic is what is being ascribed. So, I just don't get it. And as Octane says in reply, I wanted snipers, nice try. So Octane wanted them in. Now, you know, well, at least he says that, right? As Slash is going to kind of say in a second here, he reckons that some players are saying they wanted it in, whereas they actually voted against it, just to kind of keep the public on their side. I will have a look at that here in a second. But, yeah, this is what Standy says on the Minnesota Rokkr side. I don't even snipe, I didn't mind if it was in. Also, the fact that some pros wanted smokes out in Search and Destroy is abysmal. Like, surely that's one of the only ways to actually provide some strategy in the game, to have smokes in the title, and, well, as Crone said, release the vote. Now, Slasher goes, I'm not even in the chat, I have sources that it was 12-0 for snipers out. That is correct, all 12 teams voted against it. Now, that might be what he heard, but it doesn't seem like that's necessarily how things went down, because, well, as Slasher said, that's the question I'll ever understand. Dude, I didn't get a vote, but their teams voted for it at the end of the day when they asked their team what they thought. So pros are, of course, complaining, but apparently all teams voted for it. So what exactly is going on here? Now, I mean, this is, Vivid even says right here, you guys voted for it too. Now, supposedly what's going on, their system for doing these voting is just so bad that by the time Minnesota and some of these other teams actually arrived to, you know, to do their voting in whatever group chat they've gone, most pro teams have already voted in favor of snipers being gone. So as Attach says, I never voted. Snipers being out already had 9 votes. So even if I did, it wouldn't have changed anything. And Brian Tate, I'm pretty sure, says a similar thing. Me and Eli, that being Standy, both said we were for it, I guess, to keep them in. And the vote was already 9-0 before we even gave our team votes, which meant it passed anyway. So I guess if you're Minnesota and you see 9 teams already have voted for it, then, you know, and to be fair, it's the same thing if there's like only 6 teams that have voted for it and it's 6-0 when you happen to turn up to the chat, then you might think, okay, well, this is chalked. I don't understand why they don't get the pro teams or the representatives to do kind of like a silent vote if they want to do this, and like actually say, okay, instead of just you turn up and whatever and put your vote in the chat so everyone can see it, just do it behind the scenes and then all reveal it at the same time. Then you don't get any of these issues. But apparently that would be a too complicated system. So you know, I don't really get it. Shady says, you know, what's going on here, to be honest. And Rambo says from the OpTic side, so let's talk about their perspective here. That Rambo says, look, you know, trust me, I'm with you guys. Like, I don't understand why snipers are banned. Doesn't really make too much sense to me. Now, Shotzi explains it from OpTic's perspective. He actually says they wanted snipers in, but in order to build a better rapport with the other pro players, because the other teams were already voting for snipers to be gone, OpTic thought, well, it's not going to make any difference if we vote for it in or not. Let's just say that we want them gone, even though, like, obviously their team, Illy, Dashy, I'm sure these guys don't want them gone, but, you know, by doing that, as Shotzi describes, that'll give them more credence when they then want to keep smokes in the game, right? So it's kind of like, okay, we'll vote for snipers to be gone so that we can keep smokes in to make Search and Destroy a little bit more tactical. I just don't understand some of this stuff. It just boggles the mind.
My entire team wanted it in. Yes, we voted no, but the reason why we voted no, it's a long story. It's not a long story, but it's more the fact that I have to go in depth of explaining why we voted no. Long story short, if we voted no, no one would have listened to us to keep smokes in. And yeah, if I guess, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. We had to say no to snipers, so then they would listen to us to put smokes in. Does that make sense? Because if we said yes, put the sniper in, and then Ender was trying to convince them that let's put smokes in, they're not going to listen to Ender. Ender's the only one that voted yes for the sniper. Why are they going to listen to Ender? You see what I'm saying? So that's why we as a team voted no snipers. Even though we want them in. Like, we want them in.
So definitely intrigued to your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. I can't believe how some of these pros, go about some of these things sometimes, and especially given all the frustrations about the state of the game, to then get rid of snipers for such an arbitrary reason of them maybe being too strong, like in a title where they're clearly not too strong. I simply don't understand it, especially compared to previous games. As Attach says, when you beat the no sniper vote allegations, right? Because obviously some people were coming at Attach saying that deliberately he'd obviously voted it out of the game, but seemingly didn't really matter too much what Minnesota Minnesota and the OpTic guys did, because by the time maybe they came along to vote, everything was pretty much already set in stone from the other teams that they were going to be out of the game. So, you know, just frankly remarkable. Now, as Attach says as well, he agrees. I don't think snipers are that OP in this game. And as Jacob says, why did your team vote for no snipers? And, you know, he says, we didn't, right? So that's the thing. Maybe Jacob's not a fan of it. That's the thing. It's like you get this 12-0 vote, but, you know, the pros are clearly not happy all across the board with this being the case. So I just don't understand if the CDL could do anything about this, because I remember there was a clause in the rule set that I looked at back in Modern Warfare. I'm not sure if it's still there, but there was a clause that basically said collusion between pro teams is not allowed, and I wondered whether that could be used to kind of say, okay, if GAs are coming in, that's effectively collusion between pro teams, right? Because you're deciding between the pro teams not to use snipers, where they are going to be allowed in the rule set. I very highly doubt that they're ever going to get banned in the official rule set. It's just going to be a GA thing. So could the CDL say, look, you're not allowed to do that? Like, you know, we're going to come against this, because, well, fact of the matter is, I'm pretty sure every single fan of the entire game right now wants snipers to be used in competitive this year, and the pros have decided against it, even though they know full well that, you know, this game is going to be a struggle for viewership regardless. So I simply, like, it just doesn't align, you know. It's really frustrating as a fan of the scene. And this also from Sasha, yo, COD community, I wanted snipers in, do trust me, right? So I think you might be talking about some other guys that, you know, are kind of saying they wanted snipers in, but in reality, when it actually came to the voting behind the scenes, they didn't necessarily go down that route. And, you know, Methods comes out with this treating pros GA things for no reason. They hate fun, hate providing a good viewing experience, since deleted. So I guess what he's saying here is, like, you know, the fans that are saying they GA things for no reason are talking straight BS, but at the same time, it doesn't really seem like any of the pros have actually provided a good solid reason as to why snipers should be gone, because the smokes argument is actually not true anyway, because it seems that smokes are going to be staying, and especially the OpTic guys want them to stay as a consequence of snipers being gone. It's just an absolute mess, to be honest, guys. And this also from Brian Saint, just to kind of describe things, well, he replies to Methods here. State of the game is already at an all-time low. We're just piling on the hate from our fan base when snipers aren't nearly as OP as they were in Cold War. Even though smokes are still wonky at times, you still have the ability to stun these snipers for free as a result of no trophies. GA votes naturally get lopsided due to the nature of teams voting publicly in a Twitter DM, where the strongest advocates for something being removed immediately vote and preach their case repeatedly. Votes should be anonymous and recorded at the same time. Wow, bit of logic here from Saint, but, you know, whether anything actually changes going forward, I guess we'll have to see. This came out in June of last year, right, from Dashy, trying to see this, you know, who wants snipers back in competitive. 11,000 likes on this one, but yeah, seems like whoever has decided that's not going to be the case. And just I thought this was kind of funny, really, from E United. This great clip from back in the Black Ops 4 days, and but unfortunately all the sniper shots get GA. So I mean, there it is. But yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Frustrating stuff, I must admit. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in a like button. Tell us, YouTube gods, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.